Hello and welcome back to another episode on the channel by me, the Wise James. Let me just change this here quickly. There we go. So, I don't think the Prime Minister and the Tory leader are attending this week's Prime Minister's Question Time. I think they've handed it to their deputies to try and reduce any potential damage to themselves, or claiming they've got more important, serious matters which might relate to the train incident or something. We'll see.
Questions. Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, may I extend a warm welcome to the President of the Portuguese Parliament and his delegation, who are with us in the gallery today. We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Mr. Conor Rand.
So I don't know why the Prime Minister isn't answering questions. Let's see if Google knows. Why is the PM not at PMQs today? Oh, because Keir Starmer's at the COP30 summit in Brazil. So it's more important to go to COP30 in Brazil. When is the COP30 in Brazil? Let's have a look. See, is it definitely today? Okay, so literally, check this out. The COP30 in Brazil doesn't start until the 10th of November. It doesn't start until the 10th of November. But he can't attend Prime Minister's Question Time on the 5th. I bet, is that why Kemi's not here as well? Let's have a look. What's Facebook? Why is Kemi Bird not at PMQs today? No, I don't know. Maybe they'll tell us. But literally, the COP30 starts on the 10th of November. It starts in 5 days' time. And he's claimed that is his reason for not attending British Prime Minister's Question Time today and answering for his actions through the week to the British people. Is that not a lie? Like, it's not for 5 days. How can he claim he's not attending Prime Minister's Question Time today because he's got something on in 5 days' time? I mean, imagine if that was your wedding, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't attend your wedding today in 5 days' time. No, sorry. I can't attend your wedding today. Sorry, I got a bit mixed up there. I can't attend your wedding today because I've got a business meeting in 5 days' time in Brazil. It's not like I've got a pre-booked flight. Like, you're the Prime Minister of England, private jets. You could commandeer an army jet fighter and zoom across the channel in a few hours, right? What? This won't even get a mention on the news, you guys realise. The news won't mention this. The radio shows, maybe LBC will, and a few other ones on YouTube. But, like, that's a piss take. We haven't even started yet.
Prime Minister. Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, is in Brazil, attending COP30 in Belém and the Earthshot Prize alongside His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. Mr. Speaker, the thoughts of the whole House remain with those affected by the appalling scenes that we saw in Huntingdon and Peterborough, where I spent 7 years of my life at school. We thank our emergency services for their outstanding professionalism and the individuals who showed such tremendous courage to defend others. Mr. Speaker, this weekend is Remembrance Sunday. We will never forget those who fought to defend our freedom. It's been one of the greatest honours of my career to meet our troops around the world, whether in Cyprus, the Gulf or Australia. This week, the government announced the biggest renewal of armed forces housing in more than 50 years, kick-starting one of Britain's most ambitious building programmes in decades. This morning, I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Come around.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I start by congratulating the Deputy Prime Minister on being the first black person to ever answer Prime Minister's question?
The Tories and the Reform will hate that.
A landmark moment for this place in our country, and I hope he is proud. Mr. Speaker, my 8-year-old...
It's because Richie Sunak is of Indian British heritage. He's not black. See, I know we don't like putting everyone into groups because of racism, right? Because it causes division. But Richie Sunak was not a black man. Indian men and Pakistani men are not black men. They're fucking Indian and Pakistani. Like, what is wrong with some of you racists that you can't even get your racism right? Like, I've seen so many times an Indian person being called the N-word or a black person, and I'm looking thinking, am I colourblind here? That's not a black man. He's fucking Indian. Like, and then I've seen black men being called the P-word, which is usually associated with Indian and Pakistani men, and I'm looking thinking, they're not Indian? Like, so there will be some people in the country who get confused here, thinking, how could David Lammy be the first black man to answer at Prime Minister's Question Time? Richie Sunak was a black man. That's what they'll think. He wasn't a black man. Fucking Indian British.
Constituent Phoebe is battling cancer, and her parents are fundraising to help with treatment costs and to raise awareness of Phoebe's condition. And people across my constituency have been moved by her story and have come together to raise over £122,000. So will the Deputy Prime Minister join me in paying...
Funny story, actually. I was working in a call centre once for Converges on a contract for the post office, trying to help them set up a broadband department. Anyway, I was sitting next to this guy called Muhammad Ali. Funny guy. As far as I know, nice guy. As far as I know, you know, seemed alright. Seen him in a few places where I worked afterwards. Maybe at Eon, I think. Anyway, so one day he turned around to me, right? And he pulled the old card out. He goes, is it because I is black? And I looked at him. I was like, Mohammed, you're not even black. You're brown. And me and him just burst out laughing because he knew I was right. I knew I was right. I wasn't trying to be racist. He was trying to pretend he was like Ali G or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't claim, is it because I am black, when you ain't black. That's just... Anyway, I digress. I've had some friends with some really cool names in my lifetime. I had a friend called Fred Styles. I don't think it's the famous one, no. I had a friend called George Lucas. Not the inventor of Star Wars, no. A mathematical genius. Also, what was the other one? Muhammad Ali. Literally, I got a friend, someone I worked with called Muhammad Ali. No, not the boxer. Some Geordie guy who likes cars.
Paying tribute to Phoebe's inspirational bravery, and will he celebrate the incredible generosity and community spirit of Altrincham and Sale West?
Yeah. Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, it's very kind of the honourable gentleman to say that, and I'm conscious that my right honourable friend, the member for Hackney North and Stoke Newington, and indeed the leader of the opposition, are both trailblazers who've stood at this dispatch box, and it's important to recognise the progress that we've been made, particularly in the wake of Black History Month. I also thank my honourable friend for raising this issue. It's heartwarming to see a community rally around someone as brave as Phoebe. So I wish Phoebe, her twin brother Eric, and her parents Lindsay and Mark the very best in their fight against cancer.
Yeah. Shall the Secretary of State for Defence, James Cobble.
I wish anyone well who's suffering from cancer. I know some of you out there wish death on people and think some people are a waste of oxygen and all these sorts of things. And there are humans out there who I agree are gifted a lot of kindnesses they don't deserve. But through the pursuit of dealing with evil and monsters, you have to make sure you don't become that. Like, if you just murder anyone you think is a murderer, then you become the murderer. And if you end up punishing men and women who actually aren't guilty of crimes simply because you think they are, you're actually committing crimes against innocent people because you thought they weren't innocent. Like, it's a very tricky system sometimes. So, I don't agree with wishing cancer on someone or wishing death on someone just because you don't like them. There's a lot of people I don't like, but I don't wish death on them. I don't wish violence on them. I don't wish any harm to them. I don't want them to suffer. I just wish they stopped being so stupid and use their brain. That's like the height of my wishes of harm on them, and that's not harm. I just want them to be a better person. Whereas there are people out there, some of you out there, literally, you wish death on people. Not only do you wish death on people, sometimes you wish them a painful suffering of death, like cancer or sometimes worse. Do you not think that you're losing your humanity by wishing death on another human who has done nothing wrong? They just have different beliefs to you. That's what a Muslim terrorist does. Wants to blow up infidels because they don't follow Allah and Islam. So if you're a white non-religious person who wants to kill Muslims or non-British people because you don't like foreigners, you're the same as a Muslim terrorist. Just saying, I'm just saying.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I begin by associating myself and the opposition with the remarks by the Deputy Prime Minister about the terrible and horrific attack in Huntingdon. We wish a speedy recovery to those still in hospital and pay tribute to the brave actions of the public and the police. Now, Mr. Speaker, overnight, the father of the girl assaulted in Epping by Hadish Gabatu, the illegal immigrant, released by accident, said the government had failed them relentlessly. Now, I confess, I'm surprised the Deputy Prime Minister hasn't already apologised. So I'm going to give him an opportunity now. Will he apologise to the family concerned?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, it's great to see the Honourable Gentleman in his place. I had expected to see the Shadow Justice Secretary, but nevertheless, I'm pleased to see the Honourable Gentleman. He must have missed...
I'm sorry, right? But, literally, the biggest problem in politics in the world, it's not just Britain, in the world, is they don't hold themselves accountable. So, Labour do something wrong, and they blame the Tories, a few years later for what's gone wrong because of it. The Tories do something wrong, a few years down the line when it causes problems, they blame Labour for it, because the Labour is in power when the problem's being made aware, sort of thing. Now, these people released they say accidentally released a convicted child sex offender onto the streets. Accidentally. Now, bear in mind, you can't even leave a hospital ward unless a nurse or a doctor lets you out in some situations, right? But they somehow accidentally let a paedophile out onto the streets. It wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up for something else. There was something else involved, and that was the cover story. There's just no way. It was either sabotage by people who wanted to make the government look bad, or negligence, and the government is refusing to take accountability for that. But even if it was sabotage by a political opponent, they still are the ones who are negligent. They are in the power to do what they need to do. And literally, if I accidentally bump into someone on the street, I say sorry, okay? If I'm blocking someone's view because they're trying to look at a bus timetable, I'll be, oh, sorry, and move out their way. Labour will release a paedophile onto the streets of Britain, and I guarantee you, in the next 20 seconds, we don't hear sorry.
He must have missed the debate, because in the debate, of course, I said sorry.
Well, I was wrong then, maybe.
For the anxiety caused.
Sorry for the anxiety caused.
Whilst Kabatu was at large.
So not for the failure that caused it, for the anxiety caused. See, they're not... This is what some people do to try and litigate and mitigate their failures in life. They'll try and diminish them. So he's not saying sorry for what the government did. He's not sorry for the actions. He's sorry for the emotions it caused. That's like me saying, that's like me saying, I'm sorry you feel that way. You know when you're in school and you get made to apologise to each other, right? And one of you says sorry to the other one, and the other one goes, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Instead of saying sorry, they say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Something like that. Like, it's a deflection from accountability. I'm sick of these political cowards. Like, how hard is it to own up and make a mistake? Like, oh yes, I did this wrong. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I've improved. I'm doing better. It's not hard. It's not hard. Like, why did Labour sell all of the entire British gold reserves to China? It was because they fucked the economy. They managed to leave us with 600 billion debt after they sold all the gold. So how much do you all think it would have been if they didn't sell the gold? You know what I mean? The Tories then caused us 2 trillion debt, so you could assume it would have been at least £2 trillion worth of debt Labour covered up by selling public assets to another country, who has then used them assets to build advanced technology to get more profit from us and monitor our data, our lives, and our beliefs, everything. And you all think I don't know what I'm talking about, of course. I'm just the insane lunatic from the north.
And it's hugely important that Dame Lynn Owes now gets to the bottom of what has happened with her further investigation.
James Cartledge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Watching the interview last night, I have to say it was absolutely heartbreaking. And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, I do think he owes it to offer an apology here on the floor of the House. But he should have done that at the start of his remarks, Mr. Speaker. These are very serious matters, Mr. Speaker, which is why I want to ask him a further very important question. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, the House is thankfully quiet, so I'm surprised the honourable gentleman didn't hear me when I said that of course I apologise and I'm sorry for the anxiety caused.
See, he said, I'm sorry for the anxiety caused again. So it wasn't a slip of the tongue. That's not an accident. He is intentionally saying he is sorry for how we feel, not sorry for their actions. It's a coward's apology, that. It's a fucking coward's apology. Absolute weaklings.
But look, let me just remind him that he was a justice minister that allowed our prisons to get to this state in the first place. And it's now for us to fix the mess that we've got into. It's important that Dame Lynn Owes can now continue her work and understand what is happening. He knows that early release has begun under their watch in 2021.
Oh, so he got released under an early watch scheme, is what David Lammy has suggested here. Now, I wasn't aware of that bit of information. Now, the early release scheme was supposed to be able to free up national offenders because of overpopulations in the prison, but it was restricted to non-violent and non-sexual crimes. So, nobody who was convicted and in prison because of a sexual crime was eligible for the early release scheme. So, this must be how he was accidentally released, or, like, I don't know. I don't know all the details, you see. That's the first I've heard of this. No one's mentioned that to me. I try and avoid all the news. It's so drama-filled. Like, it makes me so angry. These people are such useless human beings who don't do their jobs properly. They lie to us all to protect the mistakes of the people who are sitting around them. This is why I don't want to make a party. Like, if I made a political party, right, I could get half the country to join, and then I have to defend the mistakes of all the people I let join my party. No way! No way! Like, David Lammy's got to sit here and defend the actions of Keir Starmer. Like, the other guy's got to defend the actions of the Tory government for the last 100 years. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to defend these people. I'm not going to defend people like this. No.
Mr. Speaker, these are extremely serious crimes that we are talking about. I'm going to ask him the question again. Can he reassure the House?
Sounds like he's already got information that one has been released and they're going to use it against him, which would indicate that he has some sort of connection to the people who are causing the sabotage of early release to people who shouldn't be eligible, which would indict him into a crime of systematic abuse somehow. This is the level of corruption and crime that goes on in front of your very eyes. You don't seem to be aware about, Britain.
That since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison. It's a very specific question.
Yeah, a very specific question you seem to have a very specific answer to.
Him to answer.
Deputy Prime Minister.
After his release, I put in place the toughest checks we've ever had in the prison system.
The toughest checks we've ever had. What checks did David Lammy put in place recently in the prison system recently? In October 25, following the mistaken release of a foreign national offender, Justice Secretary David Lammy introduced several immediate and stringent new checks for prior system. The checks include a mandatory government checklist, a mandatory physical presence of duty governor, an increased senior accountability, consultation on high-profile prisoners, government are required to consult a new special report, I don't know if they're the toughest rules ever put in place on prison release. I don't know. He might be right, he might be wrong. I can't prove that or not.
It is important that Lynn Owens is able to get to the bottom of her work. I suspect there'll be more checks and balances we need to do. What we inherited was a complicated system that they set up.
Oh, that's a very aggressive bit of body language, isn't it? He's getting very defensive.
People out on the sly, that's part of the problem, and we're trying to fix it.
Ooh. Emotions are flowing through David Lammy. Is it David Lammy?
Mr. Speaker, he's the Justice Secretary. He's responsible for the justice system. He needs to take responsibility.
The Tories right. I hate to say it, but the Tories right.
And I'm asking him a straight question. And I'm going to repeat it once more for the avoidance of doubt, because he didn't answer it twice. He's here to answer questions. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? It's a clear question. Can he give an answer?
Did he do a little fucking before he got up there?
Has been accidentally let out of prison. It's a clear question. Can he give an answer?
He's very frustrated because he feels he's trying to make out that he's already answered the question. This is what politicians do. Like, he hasn't answered the question.
Get a grip, man. I know I'm the Justice Secretary. That's why I'm at the dispatch box, also as Deputy Prime Minister. We know that. I'm not going to pray in aid. Dame Anne Owens is a former Deputy Commissioner in London, head of the NCA. It is for her to get to the bottom of that work. Of course, we know that there have been spikes since 2021 under his watch. When did he come to this House and apologise?
It's a very good point. It's a very good point.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of government is to take...
I want to hear both. Quiet. James Scott.
Mr. Speaker, it's getting noisier now, so just in case he didn't hear me.
Fuck it, he can't ask it a fourth time. Can tell he's a lawyer. Spent a lot of time in court harassing victims of crimes to try and get them to say it in a different way that he could try and use against them to win his case.
Didn't hear me.
Human behaviours are very simple, people. You need to observe people. You need to understand them. He's worked in justice his entire life, so he's been a solicitor, he's been a barrister, he's probably been a lawyer. So he's sat in a courtroom and harassed victims of crime to try and get them to word things in a way that he can use to try and get the person who committed the crime off with the crime they committed. That's the type of man this is. You need to understand human behaviour to understand humans.
He's the Justice Secretary.
You were as well, or your party was.
Can he
It's deflection.
reassure the House that since...
Order. I will have no gestures from the balcony. Let me reassure you, don't gesture to me. It's not a wise decision.
What was the gesture?
This is important. Prime Minister's questions, all our constituents are listening.
See, we should see what the gesture was. Like, these camera angles are bullshit. I want to know who that politician was or who it was in that room who disrupted the House's proceedings, caused the leader of the House to have to reprimand them and demand they stop their behaviour. I want to know what they did. I want to know what the gesture was. This is stupid. They get paid money, a fortune by the British public, and they can hide in these blind spots on the cameras and pull shit like that, and he has to call it out. If we had cameras on the whole chamber correctly, he wouldn't have to do that. We could call it out. He shouldn't have to do that. It's only because there's blind spots. You see where he's looking? Up there. So, him there. Someone over there. Like, you can't see them. Just off the camera here on the left. You can see these people all looking towards them. You see what I mean? Them looking towards them. I'm sick of politicians thinking swear words and saying harsh truths is misbehaviour when they're pulling shit like this out.
People in Epping and right across the country want to know the answer, Mr. Speaker. So I'm going to ask him again.
It was probably something like that. It was probably something like that, or like that, you know? Or one of them. That was probably the gesture.
He's the Justice
That politician should lose their job, but we don't know who it is because they did it on a blind spot.
Secretary. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? Can he answer the question?
Deputy Prime Minister.
I've got to tell you, I spent 14 years in opposition and I did a hell of a lot better than he's just done. I have answered the question. Under their watch, prison...
See, every time the Tory steps up, he deflects it, you're the Justice Secretary. And every time the current Justice Secretary steps up, it's, you were in charge at the time. Like, it's just... It's past the hot potato. Every day, every week, this room passes the blame from one side to the other and never really gets anything done. They never really get much done. If they didn't do it this way, they'd get a lot more done. It's the system itself that is flawed. It's fucking shit. They act like a bunch of children, and this is an after-school debate club. That's basically what they treat this as. This isn't a government. This isn't the British Empire I grew up with. This is shambolic.
We're in a mess. Suicides went up. Prison...
Male suicides are through the roof, but you don't care about men because I wrote to you all about it. Asking you to install a minister to reduce violence against men and boys because you've had one to reduce violence against men, girls and women for 10 years now. But you don't think violence against men and boys is important, so you don't care about men. So shut the fuck up, David Lammy. You were one of the people I wrote to. You didn't think I was worth your time.
Officers cut. 20,000 neighbourhood police is lost.
They did. That's why we got crime through the roof, by the way. It's the Tory police cuts.
We've deported more in the last year than they deported in the last 5 years. Please, I'm not going to take any letter from the Honourable Gentleman.
He's very irate, isn't he? Very triggered. That's what triggered is, you see. Going wild. It's not like when you've got control over your emotions and you're a bit peeved. Triggered is what David Lammy is right now. He's triggered. Like, he's gone off on one. He's gone off. Hasn't he?
Mr. Jewis and Mr. Stafford, you test my patience each week. Today's not the day to test my patience. We do have quite a bank holiday, so I certainly wouldn't want to be testing it at the moment. James Cartledge.
That was a veiled threat to take his time off.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The public are extremely concerned about what happened in the Kabatu case. They want to know there won't be a repeat.
Actually, right, I understand the country is bothered about that, and of course we are. But what I think most people would be bothered about is the fact that an immigrant, I think, was given £5,000 to willingly deport themselves, right? And then a few months later turned up back in Britain after being on a boat. So they came back for another 5,000. This is the logic of the government. They should have given him a bag of food and some shampoos and clothes. Not fucking money. You dumb fucks.
So I'm putting to him a very clear question about his responsibilities. I repeat, can he really...
I think that's more worrying to people, that the government is willing to give some people £5,000 to leave the UK, but then can't stop them coming back to try it again. Like, we used to have, in 2006 in the UK, every council had the ability to grant a £5,000 business grant to a young person who wanted to start a business. We don't have that anymore. But an illegal migrant could come over here, get £5,000 to be willingly deported, then come back and get it again, right? And have enough money to set up a business. And they don't have to pay it back.
Reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison. Can he answer the question?
He's such a fucking Tory, isn't he?
Deputy Prime Minister.
He's asking the same question until he gets the answer he wants. Like, I agree that David Lammy has answered it as best he can. The fact of the matter is, someone is investigating why this happened, and he can't reveal anything that is to do with that. Because it's an investigation. You can't meddle with an investigation while it's going on. You can only do that once it's completed, especially when you're in government. That's how it works. And he knows that's how it works. He's trying to trick him up here. He's trying to cause him problems. He's trying to cause the Labour Party problems. What you're seeing isn't as it seems. There's always more to it.
Mr. Speaker,
No, I don't know. I heard that in the background. You both probably heard it.
Mr. Speaker.
No, I don't know.
Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to being up against the member for Newark next time. In 25 years in this House.
By the way, when a politician doesn't answer the question and they answer it by saying something else, it's called a political pivot. So you could ask me, is it a nice day? And I think, oh, well, I think last Tuesday was a very nice day. That's called a political pivot. Or you could say, oh, James, why do you have your hair short? And I could say, oh, well, I once had my hair long because of blah, blah, blah. Like, it's called a political pivot. They don't answer the question. They pivot it. They change everything. Anything but answer the question. Anything but answer the question.
I've not witnessed
That's what it's called.
A more shameful spectacle, frankly, than what the party opposite left in our justice system. Their criminal negligence on his watch as a former justice minister. They left our prisons on the brink of collapse entirely, threatening to allow offenders to run wild on our streets. He knows that. Rape victims waiting years for their day in court. He knows that. Neighbourhood policing decimated, leaving our people feeling unsafe in their communities, and they haven't learned a thing.
No, they haven't. All they care about is more money for their donors and hurting everyone who's poor, sick, disabled, young, vulnerable, or dying. That's the Tory way. Anyone who you can pick on, they'll pick on. Anyone who can't defend themselves, they go for. You see me, I go for the biggest, most dangerous, most powerful entity I can find and try and put it in its place. I don't go and find some weak fucking person on the streets and kick the fuck out of them, but that's what the Tories do. If they were a gang, they would go around London robbing the homeless people. They wouldn't go around robbing the jewellers. No, because the jewellers can fight back. They would go around robbing the homeless people who can't defend themselves. That's what the Tories are. Them.
Are tackling knife crime. That's why it's falling. 13,000 more bobbies we are putting on the streets, kicking out 5,000 foreign criminal offenders.
Thing is, though, the Tories got rid of 20,000 officers, so I don't see how 13,000 being hired solves the problem. Now, yeah, it's all well and good, but surely they should hire the 20,000 back who got sacked, so that we have at least the numbers we did back then, because the population has grown since then and crime has gone up. So we need more than we lost. And we lost 20,000, so getting 13,000 is great, but we probably need 30,000. Like, it... I am sure the country would lose less money from hiring 30,000 police officers than it would from only hiring 13,000 and allowing more crime than would be happening otherwise. Because the crime that happens because they didn't hire enough costs the country more than if they hired enough officers. This is what I mean, the government. They think money is what it's all about, and think, oh, because 13,000 police officers is all we can afford, that's what we're going to do. When the crime that they're letting go on will cost more than they're trying to save by not hiring 30,000. They're thick twats, I swear to God, man. Our government is so stupid.
I've got to say to the honourable gentleman, he should do better.
You all should do better. I need to walk in there like Ali G and teach you all some respect. Like, how is the UK losing 20,000 police officers and hiring back 13,000, solving the problem of losing 20,000? We're still 7,000 short from 5 years ago. And the population has gone up since then, and so has crime. So obviously we needed more than we lost, and they haven't even made up the number we lost, so the problem hasn't been solved. Now, it's good, sure. It's good, but it's not enough. It's not going to fix it. It's lip service. It's a cosmetic appearance that everything's okay, when actually when you wipe away the makeup, no, it's no.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent, Georgia Hart.
What, I got it to 6. James Cartwright. Order. It is 6. All right. 6, you've had your 6. Sorry, I was correct. Jonathan Brass.
He wasted all of his questions asking the same question. So when our government each week is supposed to be held accountable in front of the public, the opposition chose to ask the same question 6 times. That was Prime Minister's question time this week, guys. Fucking hell. These lot all need sacked. See you later.